Hi, big dog. Oh no. He's wild. What's going on? Wow, that was a lot of work. About 3 hours of work for 5 forms, which is pretty fast for us. Have a new brand of concrete from Menards. High gravel content, and it mixes so easily. We've been using this mix, which has practically no gravel and mixes terribly. Robert, you look red and tired.
You were very astute.
What do you think?
I think I am red and tired.
Exactly. Shower time. It's a nice day. The last few have been really hot, 85 Fahrenheit. And with rain last night, the temperature's down in the 60s again. So it's quite lovely. What do you think, bro? It's a good dog weather. Gonna remove the forms, put on the brackets, install the columns, and if time permits, install the grade boards and start in the foam. Same old, same old. Now the third trench. This is kind of getting into a boring routine for us. Last night we finished up with the installation of this grade board, and I couldn't wrap my head around why it wasn't coming out right. It was supposed to be centered on this column, and yet it's a little off center. There shouldn't be anything off center. So I looked at the SketchUp drawings for the pole barn that I made, and we mounted it a ½ inch wrong. I squared this corner up perfectly, but it's not supposed to be squared up perfectly. It's supposed to be set in about a ½ inch, like this. So the other grade board is beveled around. I'm gonna take that off, scrape off the caulk, move it a ½ inch, and resecure it. Little mistakes. It's not a big deal, but you know, every time you have to redo something, it slows progress. When lowering this column in, I hit footing and took a little chunk out of it. Also, I think I moved it slightly because when installing this column in the right location, it wasn't quite level. So we actually disconnected it from the bracket, moved it over a little bit, about a ½ inch, and resecured it there to make sure that it was perfectly level. two small issues with this trench, but both were resolved without too much effort. We caught them early. Okay, that's fixed. I moved everything over 7/16. It wasn't quite a ½ inch off, but it was pretty close. So this is the way that looks. Got a slight overhang on it where the piece that goes down the side will kind of slot into it. And the piece down here is now dead center on the column. Perfect. So now we move on to the second grade board. But before that, I'm gonna fill in this trench a little bit. This area is so deep, and I'm afraid it's gonna degrade the area underneath that footing. So we'll fill it in a little bit, hopefully make sure that footing stays nice and solid. That will definitely do it. Hi, big boy. That trench is done. It takes so long sometimes, and the heat doesn't help. When you're down in that trench and the sun's high in the sky, it's like it just bakes you, reflecting off the sand on every side. It gets so hot in that trench, compounded by no moving air, of course. But we made through, and this one's done.